Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Sistas on BET. I am catching up from a long time ago, so I have to confess. These are my confessions. Episode 16 through 19. I know. I'm going to explain that, but I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video, subscribe, share, and you can leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, y'all, so I am just letting you know, yes, I have really missed a lot of weeks. At least 3 weeks now. This is the 4th week that I'm now catching up. I believe episode 16, not much was going on, so I did kind of skip it. Episode 17, I did record, and I added whatever happened in episode 16 onto that. However, there was no audio. Last week, I can't even tell you what happened, but when I get out of my groove, then I end up flopping. I apologize to everyone because I do want to be a consistent channel, and that's not the way that I want to continuously do. If I make a commitment, I want to stay true to it. I do praise myself, even as I'm accountable, that I have been mostly consistent this season. So I plan on it. I think there's a few more episodes before the season is over. So and things are starting to heat up. So, all right. Episode 16, Unbreakable Bond. Karen does announce to the Sister Circle that she and Aaron are moving to Seattle. This creates a tense reaction from her friends who initially focus on how it affects them. A lot of the circle was basically asking a lot of questions that are saying, how does it affect them? It's self-centered questions. And that's why she felt more comfortable in talking with Fatima, despite how of an hellion she has been towards Fatima all this time. I hate that happened to her. I hate that Karen carried on as long as she did. However, you can tell the type of person that Fatima is, that she did not have to be. And she created space for Karen when Karen hasn't been that welcoming at all. So, of course, us Fatima fans are like, we wouldn't give her a time of day. However, strong friends with someone that's probably, what's the word? An empath, maybe? Maybe that's what is going on, because she seems to take on other people's burdens and all that. But yeah, Sister Circle, y'all whack. We know that Andy and Danny, they were kind of going at it because Danny's sick of what she thinks is Andy hiding stuff. Which kind of is technically, she didn't mean it. I don't think, even with this whole Dr. Vaughn situation. But after seeing her first with Gary, and now this whole Dr. Vaughn situation is like, so you about to rush into something else? I mean, I'd be asking a lot of questions at this point. Zach confronts hard truths. I know that we're going to get more into that about the father in just a little bit, and it's really looking at this Mr. Keys dude is Zach's father. Even in this last episode, I was like, episode 19, yeah, that's looking like your father here, but we shall see. Andy meets with the women who were harmed by Dr. Cruz, and she wants to ask their permission because she wants to have this case that she's building to present it to her firm in regards to getting justice. Tensions also arose between Maurice and Paige because she did not like that Maurice and her brother were getting close. I think it was hitting her from both ends. And now that she has this friend Maurice, and now her brother, who is now so distant and not really speaking with her, and Maurice is taking up all her time, she has a problem. But I thought he just broke up with another person. But I think it's why she wants to act out is because it's one of her friends that are now trying to be all lovey-dovey with her brother. But her and Maurice talk about it. I think they're on a better page at this point. Gary, he faces the consequences for his past actions as Zach, Fatima, and Hayden confront him. He attempts to make amends, and he was unsuccessful. Episode 17, The Ties That Bind. Danny finds out about Tony's destructive hobby. I was rooting for Tony. This dude ended up stealing Danny's money because now he has a gambling issue. So not only this, Danny already had a problem with you not having a job. Then you wanted to move in with her and then be a couch potato as you try to figure out life. Unfortunately, men don't have that option. I was okay for a while. Now, Tony, you said you had your own money. And I think with you, you do things that are quite violating. You really, really cross the line with your boundaries. You do things to impose on her. And it's unfortunate because you're the one that really convinced her to go to therapy, but you're really one of her ops at this point. And I hate that. You impose to make her babysit your children. Your ex-wife comes. That's imposed on her, and then the ex-wife is trying to do a bunch of stuff to try to break y'all up, and you didn't even believe her, Danny, when she was saying all this, and it came out to be true. You imposed yourself after you got fired to come move in. You imposed yourself to not at least look like you are in a place of getting a job or something. And I do get it. I actually do understand Tony because I was rooting for him. Okay, you're trying to really figure out what you want in life after being a part of the airport business and all that. You weren't a couch potato, and now you are. And unfortunately, people see you as weak now. Tony, that's the name of the game. You were a workaholic, or not a workaholic, but you were about your business, and now you have no business, but playing games all day, and now gambling, and then taking Danny's money to gamble with, because you lost too much in one of your games, and now you try to make up for it for the money that you had lost by stealing from Danny. Don't nobody want that. It's just like, even if you guys were headed towards marriage, there's no way, at least I wouldn't recommend or even congratulate Danny if she did say yes. Like, you stole money, and you did it for your own selfish needs. I don't know what you were thinking. You know she's uncomfortable with you being there, and then you want to add more to it. I don't know if you're going to get, I know you'll get it together, but I don't know if Danny's going to stay around for you. Andy decides to slow down on her relationship with Dr. Vaughn because of the things that Danny was saying that now has her kind of contemplating, am I a hoe? I mean, Andy. And then it's the people that you pick along with being a 304. She talks with Sabrina. She said, do what you got to do for yourself, da-da-da-da-da. So she ends up slowing down, even though you invite him to come over to your house to drink wine, and then you say, I'm going to get into something more comfortable. That could be a little bit leading on. Of course, you could say that that's a signal, or maybe not, or take it at whatever value it's at. It's just like Vaughn would have been in a catch-22 situation, where you're just going to catch it either way. Sabrina ends up establishing some ground rules with her relationship with Danny's cousin and all that good stuff. And she's going to try to maintain having emotional distance because her and Maurice talk, and she is being a Sabrina. Basically, she's not cut out for this 304 life. And Maurice was like, look, you need to hit it and quit it, not this other stuff that you got going on. Not even quit it, hit it, but don't get into your feelings. I can't, let me make sure. Oh yeah, Zach, Hayden, and Fatima, they corner Gary to try to figure out his motives and what he knows. Basically, the money that Zach got into his bank, it was Gary's way of returning Zach's money. I could have sworn he had more money than that, but that's up for them to actually remember that. Shout out to the writers. Karen ends up receiving a romantic surprise from Aaron. And Karen is also considering selling the salon at this point after getting engaged. So, yeah, they're moving to Seattle. He got a job. That starts in just a few days. And she said yes to his proposal. And people were fighting online, there's no way that Zatima should not be having their wedding first. I mean, let the girl go. Miss Ebony is leaving. Let the girl go and have whatever fairy tale that she needs. We need a wedding special for Zatima, for real. They're the fan favorites. And I would like a little, like Bachelor Getaway, the Bachelorette to do their own things. Is it called Hungover? Like something of that adventure. And then allow them to come together to be married. have their wedding day and be married. Probably everybody's not going to be invited. That normally would be there, So I don't know, but I think that we should get something special. I don't know if it should be on BET Plus or not, but yeah, BET Tyler Perry Studios, hook us up with a wedding special or something, All right, so we are on episode 18 right now. Diamonds are forever. Karen does accept the proposal. Sabrina faces a new conflict because guess what? Damani, who was her sperm donor, is now reneging on what he had going on with her as far as with this egg. He ends up saying that he got back with his ex, and his ex is not that okay with the whole situation. And it's just like, well, Damani, I don't understand why your ex is not okay when you know that you were coming into a situation where Sabrina was entangled in another relationship, and then you brought yourself up in here like, oh, I could do it. Anyways, he's like, look, whatever you got to do, get rid of it. In Georgia, there's a no offing type of thing as far as with abortions and all that, and that's kind of her safety net. But we'll get into that in the next episode. Tanny receives a new diagnosis called a cortisol imbalance. Now, I just want to be truthful. I really thought that the whole situation was more of a Tony thing, or even just Danny being turned off by this dude that's just living in her house and eating up all her food, and I leave him laying, and then I come back, and not much progress has been done. I thought that was the issue, but no, she has a thing called cortisol imbalance, sweaty and all that good stuff. I was like, ooh, y'all women really be going through it. Zach learns from his father's friend, which is Mr. Keith, that his father moved to Canada and remarried him, leading him to question where the father was, why the father had not reached out to him. No, that's not that. Let me read something from my notes here, because I have another set of notes. Sorry, I'm a little bit... Yeah, the episode opens with Aaron proposing to Karen with a gorgeous diamond ring, to which she says yes. They get engaged and plan to move to Seattle for a fresh start. Meanwhile, in another scene, we see Damani asking Sabrina to get rid of those embryos as he is getting back with his ex and they are getting married. His fiance doesn't want Sabrina to use Damani's sperm to have children. Sabrina is completely freaked out about it, and she says that Damani and she have signed an agreement regarding this, and she will not get rid of her embryos. At the office, Andy meets Fatima, and she tells that Gary came to see Hayden last night, and he apologized for the things he has done. He also put $1,000 in Zach's bank account. Andy also reveals that she spoke to Gary, and he wants to make things right with everyone. Hayden enters the scene, greeting everyone. Good morning, wearing excessive cologne, which he claims Andy's mother, who just passed him by, said he is cute and he has nicer cider vanilla musk. Andy warns Hayden to stay away from her mother. Maurice visits Sabrina at her cabin, where he learns that Damani is asking Sabrina to get rid of her embryos. He's furious about losing his 4 embryos. He gets furious losing his 4 nephews and asks about Damani's ex. Then Maurice gets to know that Sabrina and Damani have signed an agreement and share custody of the sperm. Sabrina says that she only has a verbal agreement and that she is the sole owner of her embryos. Sabrina doesn't agree to Damani's demands. Maurice is fed up with the situation as he has already picked names for the children, and Sabrina has already paid $20,000 for the IVF. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool whatsoever. Oof. At the airport, while Danny was on duty, she met Officer Green as there was a mishap in Terminal E and the company was firing people. Danny is afraid of her job, while Green says that he wants his options open in Danny's life and flirts with her. Yeah, this cop is quite persistent, but he's also doing this to Andy at the same time. It's just like, ooh, okay. Danny's guilty for texting with him the night before until 3 a.m. And she makes it clear that it can't happen again. But Officer Green is persistent in pursuing Danny, and he doesn't care that she is in a relationship. Andy gets a call from Officer Green. Andy gets a call from Officer Green asking her to take her on a date on Wednesday with fine dining, flowers, and live music. But Andy seems least interested in dating. She said that she will let him know. Meanwhile, Fatima meets Tarika from the women's basketball team, who's hired her 2 lawyers and will now let Hayden and Fatima represent her. Tarika develops a small crush on Hayden, but Fatima states he's gay. The core moment of the episode is at the cafe. Zach meets Mr. Keys to learn about his dad, who left him when he was 5. Mr. Keys says Zach reminds him of gold. The core moment of this episode is at the cafe. Zach meets Mr. Keys to learn about his dad, who left him when he was 5. Mr. Keys says Zach reminds him of gold. The name Zach's father was called by his friends as he wore a lot of gold jewelry. This gold Zach's father used to steal from the rich folks and never got caught. Mr. Keys finds Zach and his father similar, except for the stealing part. They both are determined go-getters and hustlers. Wait, weren't you stealing from Karen? Season 1? Okay. Mr. Keys then revealed how Zach's dad left Atlanta 10 years ago and moved to Canada and married a South African woman. Mr. Keys yelled at him for not reaching out to Zach, and things got heated. They are not in contact anymore. Zach wants to know why his dad hasn't reached out. Mr. Keys says that he wants to be friends with Zach, and he advises Zach to let his father live in his own guilt, while Zach must move on. Karen meets with Fatima and gives her the news on her engagement and that they are moving to Seattle, where Aaron got a job. Fatima says that she's happy for Karen, and the women share a heartfelt moment. Andy joins the conversation and appreciates the beautiful rings. Wait, where am I at? Yeah, and inquires about wedding plans. Andy then requested Karen to get the women from Karen's women's group to pursue the class action lawsuit against Dr. Cruz. Andy then throws light on her fight with Danny and how it all started when Andy lied about dating Karen's doctor, Dr. Vaughn. Andy thinks that Danny is jealous of her as she can date whomever she wants while Danny is stuck in her relationship with Tonya. Did she lie though? Just saying. Meanwhile, Danny meets her therapist and rants about her and how she's on the verge of losing her job. Her unemployed boyfriend has moved into her apartment and dirtied the place, while her so-called friend Andy, instead of accountability, thinks Danny is jealous of her. Also, her hair is thinning. Oh yeah, she did say that. The therapist says that Danny might be experiencing cortisol imbalance, which means when the stress hormone is either too high or too low, it can cause a lot of physical and emotional imbalance. The therapist suggests that Danny get it diagnosed by the therapist suggests that Danny get it diagnosed by a physician. The ladies from Karen's group meet with Andy, who will now represent them free of cost to take down the racist killer, Dr. Cruz, who then appears at the office to see Hayden Moss. The episode ends with Damani visiting Sabrina to change her mind, but she won't. As by the Georgia law, embryos are considered life, and offing them means murder, which is punishable offense. Damani's ex-girlfriend is there. Yeah. So we're current now, and Rich, he done showed up because he had already said in the last episode to Zach and Fatima that he wanted to fight for Sabrina. Here we go. So Damani and the girlfriend shows up trying to just talk smart and stupid, and she needs to be punched in her face for how she want to act towards Sabrina like she's the enemy or whatever. But just getting smart and crazy for what? Because you decided to get back with this dude who offered up his sperm in the first place. Anyways, when Rich comes in, then all of a sudden there's a tussle between Damani and Rich. Anyways, Damani and the girlfriend finally leave. Rich was trying to get Sabrina to at least talk with him. He leaves the roses as she wants nothing to do with them. Sabrina ends up coming to the office thinking that she was going to talk to Andy, but she's busy. She ends up talking with Fatima, and Fatima kind of stands in proxy for Andy and ends up calling Damani and using some lawyer tactics to get him to back down. And overall, the ending result is that she can keep the embryos. And of course, Sabrina was praising Fatima. She said, "Oh, you're going to be a good lawyer when your time comes," and all that good stuff. Let's see. Danny, she's at the airport, and guess what? She gets fired. They let her go, and of course, Danny's causing a dramatic scene, as only Danny could do. Danny ends up going to the gym and talking with Zach. She was in a mood. He ends up brightening it because she ends up saying what happened. And he said, well, maybe this is a blessing, and you need to take that as a way to just shift. And I think that that's been in the works for a couple of seasons. You know, even though that's not going to be what she's doing, I think. But she had a lot more passion in solving crimes. Maybe she could do something with law. But anyways, yeah. She was comfortable where she's at. It wasn't anything to push her. Remember, she was upset with Tony for signing her up for those classes and all that. And she's like, look, I love my comfortable life like this. And it's cool. If you don't want to better yourself and just is comfortable where you're at, cool. And whomever around has to live with that or get rid of her. That's all I can say about that. So she ends up running into Pam and Maurice at Karen's salon. And it looks like they're in a position where they might be going into business together. All three of them, collectively. So we have to see how that forms, and I think that that's a cool thing, you know. Basically, the comic reliefs are going to be nuts together. So we're going to see how this goes. Maybe Tony's going to be a part of it. I don't know. But he got to get his act together. Danny did throw him out because of his nonchalantness of what he was doing. He acted like he was just borrowing the money, but you have to ask before to borrow money and all that good stuff. Again, he's an imposer and just tramples over boundaries. What else? Zach meets up with Mr. Keys. He's on the football field trying to help out with these children to get them ready for football or whatever. And he's asking Zach to come on to kind of be someone to help him coach a little bit, be a mentor. I think that he's bringing Zach on because Zach used to play. I think that this is part of the writers pulling from DeVal's personal life. What else? What else happened? Okay, so Mr. Barnes, not Barnes, because that's Andy, Burden ends up speaking with the women. Of course, he's got all these objectives like, how come you didn't do anything? You know, as black women, they told their horror stories, and that made me cringe because I don't know. I've never been pregnant and never have it. Don't know what that experience is to be ignored by a doctor and bullied by a doctor who basically did a hysterectomy on two of the patients. At least one was just behind their back, and another one had a doula. They didn't allow her to come in. It was around 38 weeks of being pregnant. It was a terrible situation. One did complain, and it didn't go far at all. And he's like, well, he's been very nice to me and all of that. So it's just hard for me to grasp that this is a person because I know my friend. And they said, well, you're white. But for some reason, they seem to think that black women can just handle pain and all that good stuff. And it's not fair. So Mr. Barden finally heard it and listened and said, look, I think you guys have a case. And we're going to release Dr. Cruz from being a client here and all that. Of course, Dr. Cruz didn't take that well. He's saying all of this racist, microaggressive stuff. And Fatima's about to fight because he was saying some really, really nasty things. But they kick him out. Let's see. Anything else happen? We took care of everybody, right? Karen, yeah, Karen was a part of that whole situation. Yeah, I'm caught up now. 4 episodes. Again, I apologize, y'all. I do. And we'll be back next week. Tell me what you thought of these episodes and how you see it going. Did you see that preview where Andy was about to, well, Dr. Vaughn was about to snatch up Andy over another patient, saying that Dr. Vaughn helped Dr. Cruz cover up the lies of from Dr. Cruz from her time in the hospital. I hope it's not true, but how he's trying to grab her arm and stuff is just kind of crazy. But again, he's the same person that was just kind of like, he can't do nothing because it's going to mess with his job. And it's probably along those lines. But anyways, let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Until the next episode, peace.